All right. Morning. Morning. Well, I guess now, just slipping into the afternoon. Hope everyone is well. Apparently I can't speak again this week, so that should be fun. Figured I'd join us on a different panel today for obviously the meetup, and clearly I need to update our image. Still on the Halloween logo, emphasis on Halloween there. Today, tomorrow, and our last event of the year, Web Telescope. Looking forward to that one. Cool. My mate brought back some matcha Ferrero Rochers. Not too sure how I feel about that. Well, good afternoon, Kev. And have you eaten these? Have you still got them? Have you tried them? Oh, very nice, you say. Okay. Yeah, straight from Halloween to Christmas, as is apparently the way with everybody this year. Like, you walk around. I don't look in people's windows, I promise, but everyone's got their Christmas trees up by the looks of it. Seems like we're embracing Christmas particularly early this year. You weren't sure about the Ferrero Rochers? Yeah, were they actually green on the outside? Sales of Christmas trees are up to 85%. Yeah, I can imagine. And we suddenly realised we don't have a fake one this year to put up, and obviously aren't going to be going and getting a real one from anywhere, unfortunately. So, yeah, going to be having to buy a fake one and pop that up in 4 weeks, which is an appropriate time to put your Christmas stuff up. Yeah, everyone's just looking for a little bit of decoration at home. I can't blame them. But anyway, just stop chatting, move on, get on with what you're all here for. Statamic. So a quick recap, I guess, on last week, where we added the majority, I believe, of the collections. So we finished off some of those collections and added the taxonomies. We went over assets and took a look at Glide, which is the pretty sweet image generator, image pipeline. I don't know. Words. It makes images different sizes and that. This week, we're going to briefly touch upon a kind of slightly different vein of collections, and that's our globals. So quite often you're going to need to have some fairly top level global variables. Things like your company address, company contact numbers, social links. I also often provide an area within my globals for marketing tags, which I usually predominantly just offer them a Google Tag Manager ID, and then they can manage their tags beyond that within Google Tag Manager. That's been a fairly go-to for the last few years. We will then, we did miss one collection last week. This could be quite controversial as well, I don't know how well this will go down, but we need to create an authors collection. So we discussed that in the pricing. Here we go with the awkwardness. In the pricing, single user site is now free, with some further restrictions on the features. Things like revisions, as we can see in this little preview here, are unavailable to 3 users. I can't think of the other stuff off the top of my head at the moment. I guess we could hit the pricing page, but predominantly it's around that single user. So within the paid pro tier, unlimited user accounts, revisions and drafts, multi-site stuff, the Git integration stuff, which I touched upon last week, and we will go over next week. So all of that stuff, $259 per site. So we are going to show you. Ooh, that's cool. I haven't seen that before. That's quite a nice little effect. I have to go and look at what they've done with that now. Is that a GIF or something? But anyway, we're going to set up a author collection so that we can actually have individual authors without having that user object. We are going to review some of the feedback. A couple of you have punted over messages about things I messed up. So thanks for that. That's great. As we touched upon last week as well, we'll be covering some very quickly going over, well, to be fair, there's not much to go over, creating error pages. So we got 404s, several 404s last week. Intentional 404s, I'd like to point out, but 404s nonetheless, and we had a pretty ugly 404 page that wasn't actually inheriting from our layout. Yeah, we will add that as well, and any other errors we deem appropriate at the time, and we'll show you how to set those up. I think that's my list. And then, of course, templating. So, slight mistake in that I honestly don't recall. So, Statamic 3 came out at the start of the year. I've built one site with it so far and messed around with it quite a lot. I can't remember if Tailwind is integrated and has always been. I'm pretty sure it hasn't, but it would appear in the latest version, at least, of Statamic, that Tailwind is actually included out of the box now. So there's not going to be any setup really for that, which is unfortunate, and also fortunate, I guess. But we will dip into that, have a play around with Tailwind, and then the Norfolk developers website itself is all built with Tailwind. So we will be building out the dark version of Tailwind of the website. Hey, updated. I came here earlier, it wasn't updated. We need to look into this, Sean. This is weird. Every so often, it's just not. Yeah, it's old again. And then we'll get the front end flush or whatever it's called. I don't know. Hydration, I guess is the word. At some point, but then sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. It's weird. We will also be making our own meetup tag for. I haven't got that in my notes. Weird. For the render meetup. So we'll be looking into how we set up custom tags. It will hopefully be enough of a introduction so that you can kind of see the power of creating your own tags. And it's pretty handy. Sean says re-render does not work for some reason. Yeah, it's weird. It'll update if you unfocus on maybe that's what I did earlier. Yeah, nice. Okay. So is that React query? Is it that does that? I'm not sure. But yeah, this is the Next.js site. It's all on GitHub. Feel free to take a peruse. So is, of course, this website as well. I noticed I hadn't pushed episode 2, so I've pushed that this morning. Where is it? Somewhere in here. Or not. I could have sworn I've put it up here. I called it Nordev. Ah, there we go. Yeah, so episode 2 is up here now to see. But anyway, as usual, I've been babbling on again for another 10-15 minutes or whatever it's been. So let's just get directly into it. So let's close that home page. We'll leave the developer page as open. Quick catch up on chat. SWR or React query. SWR, that's the one. SWR. Is that stale while that's the stale while revalidate, isn't it? So it's like coughs up a stale cached version and then revalidates in the background. But it doesn't get that then doesn't get updated to our server side copy, which is a bit of a pain. Right. So, like I say, what will we be covering? So we're going to be, first of all, first port of call, not any of that. Docker star, I've completely forgotten. There we go. So and this time I made sure that I'm not running any other images. I mean, I say I made sure. I haven't done any work this morning, so that'll be why. Right, 32768 again, so we'll make sure that's still working. You never know. In fact, 32768, there it is. It's a beautiful menu, and CP is loading. Excellent. And I remembered to lock my password manager. I'm getting used to this whole streaming malarkey. DND mode is on, look. Awesome, awesome. Right. So I'm probably just going to work down my list. I've got some notes. I've got a list of to-do actions. So let's crack on. So I mentioned globals. So these are for, like I say, addresses, company details, anything that's kind of top level, doesn't belong in a collection, isn't really a navigation or any of that sort of stuff. And for holding like variables from across the site. So one of the variables that we will be introducing at some stage into this globals, I'll do it in context so we don't get confused, is like a per page or like a pagination limit and things like that. So yeah. All right. What will we call it? Well, that is a good question. I'm going to have, I guess we'll just call it main. Or we could call it config or site config or something. I think we'll call it config actually. Nice. And then you get a blueprint. And as with everything, if you tap the edit on the blueprint button, it's going to take you over to here. And again, no sidebar this time by default, but you do get tabs. So you get, sections. Tabs, yeah. All right, so real simple. Create a field, a simple text field, and we're going to call it site name. Site underscore name will do as a template variable. Instructions again, we can leave those blank. I don't really need them. It's pretty obvious. Input type, we could put things like used in title, used in, etc., etc. But for today's purposes, we're going to keep it simple. Right, clicked a bit quick there. Back into create field, and let's just add our substrat. So this is our going straight to the heart of software development practice and process. This tagline or whatever you want to call it. So we'll hit text again, substrat. Substrat has a handle, everything else is fine. We will make, actually, we probably should make both of these required. Save. Now, one thing that will potentially catch you out or won't catch you out, specifically probably won't catch you out, but it will kind of gracefully fail. So if a variable isn't defined, it will just gracefully not render it, ignore it. So be aware of that. It's something to be cautious of, but it's also something to be, to make use of. So substrat site name, that'll do for now. And like I say, there might be some more variables we'll be introducing at a later stage, but this will do for our main config variables. We will start using those in our templates at a later stage. We'll show you how to get those out, but as just a quick reference, we'll open up our layout view and we'll just come in here. It doesn't really matter where we put it, to be honest, but we'll just pop a dump at the top here. And now if we pop it over to our, no, it's not 3000, 32760, we've got a dump here, and what we should have is config, yes, but it's empty. I get a feeling I might have just trashed the existing config. So what should we call our config variable? Sorry, one moment. What I'm quickly looking for is the version I've got here. Yeah, I did call it config. It's fine. So maybe, oh, we haven't put anything in it. Okay. So site name, Norfolk developers, and substrat. We'll paste that, going straight to the heart of development. So save that, and now saved. We should have some config variables. Yeah, good. We have a site name and a substrap contained. And this will be at every page. So regardless of the page you're on, we are now going to have config. So we've got like top level, global. Excellent. So that's configured our global setup. We will now pop along and, like I say, create that authors collection. So I think the only real consumer of this is going to be posts. So we will create a collection, and we will create a collection of authors. Okay. Create. And as usual, we will scaffold some resources. And we will not create an index page. We don't really want an top level overview of our authors yet. We could mount it potentially at a later stage, but we're not going to do that today. We do want an authors show because we might want to list off or make our authors clickable, so you can see all posts by one of our authors, like Selena, for example. If you want to just see high quality authorships, don't click Alex if you don't want to read just boring notifications. Alright, so we've scaffolded our resources. We should now have a blueprint for our authors. Here it is. And we'll create our fields. Whoop whoop from Simon. Is that a whoop whoop hello or a whoop whoop we have authors? Alright, so as usual, bulk standard hello, good morning, good afternoon. We want a title. That'll be our name for this in this instance. We probably want a image, which means we'll probably want to set up our asset directory. So we've skipped ourselves ahead. We'll want an avatar. So let's jump into assets. Go into our main container, which is our only container, and let's create a folder. Let's call it authors. And create. Perfect. Back to blueprints. Back into our author collection, obviously. Create a field. Assets. And we will call this avatar. And we will select our main assets container. We will link it to our authors folder that we've just created. Oops. We will show it. We might as well have a little picture of them on our index pages, our lists. We will restrict to this folder here. Oops, accidentally clicked there. And again, max files 1 so that we get it as a single item rather than an array. We won't make this required. I was about to come back here and make this required, but I don't think we will. We don't always have an avatar for our authors. What else do we need here? Probably a biography or a description. We could do this with the bard and allow them to go, hell for leather over there. But I think we'll just introduce a text area, and we'll use that same NL to be our trick. I'm calling it description because I was about to say that we used in the description of our magazines. A biography. We will hidden this by default. We will hide that by default. We don't need a full-on biography on that page. No requirement again. We might just want to basically, if we consider the current site, the current Nordev site, there is no metadata attached to an author. So let's assume that we're going to straight for straight copy those. So let's set it up in such a way that allows us to do that. Maybe want our avatar to the left of the name. Could be cool, right? So let's do that. 33% on the avatar, drag that up, and then 66% on our title. Okay, full width biography. I think this is us done. So we'll save that. We now have our author blueprint. Excuse me. And we can begin creating entries within our author. Let's create myself. Funny enough, I don't have a copy of my own avatar on my PC. I have to do this because I needed to change it somewhere the other day. So this fantastic image by Charlie. If you want your own, check her out. Extraordinarily cheap. Don't know how she does it. She's well, other than the fact that she's an incredibly good, talented artist, and obviously doesn't take as long to do images as I would. So everything's relative, but yeah, avatar 400 by 400. There we go, and we'll upload that here. Upload avatar. Check it. Check. And Alex got it. Biography. I wrote a cool biography the other day, and I don't know where I put it. Somewhere around here is a biography. There it is. I was pretty proud of this. I just made it up on the spot. There we go. Alright, so we'll save and publish that. And we now have an author. Awesome. So we only need this on posts, I believe. Certainly for now. We can add them later if we need them on anything else. So we will edit the blueprint, attach this post. And there it is. A slightly different way of going at it from there. And we need an author field. So I'll probably put that over on the sidebar. It's not too important. So we will create a field. And we will, from here, select collections. And we will put author. In fact, I call it authors, so that we know that we allow more than one. We're going to allow multiple authors. There are a few posts on this. To be fair, actually, I think it's probably just the post by Sean and I that's multiple authors, but on the off chance that we do need it. So we'll have authors, and we'll make them required. And finish that. We now have our authors over here, and I'm probably going to drag that above the tags. It feels more important. And save that. Okay. So now on our posts, we can introduce an author. Right here. Hang on. Did I pick the wrong collection? Was anyone screaming at me at that point? I think I picked pages or something, didn't I? Okay. Authors. No, not authors. Posts. And is authors the wrong collection? Oh, hold on. Sorry. It's not the wrong one. It's the wrong set. It's the wrong field in total. Right, so this has caught me up before. In Statamic v2, there used to be a collection and a collections field. They have changed that, I think. I'm going to be talking about this and it's not going to have changed. Yeah, so there's the collections one. They've renamed the collection one, I think, to entries. So now we should be able to, yeah, there we go. We can pick our authors from our authors collection, and we'll have it as a type ahead field, and we'll call it authors. All right, no max items, but it is required. Finish. And we'll drag it back up again. Save that. Back to posts, and hopefully we can actually add some authors now. Hello world. Authors. Excellent. That's perfect. Why have we got no authors to choose from? There we go. Type. Awesome. So we are now an author of the Hello World post. My biography does itself justice. Cool. now we will need to bring in that author into our template. Before I do that, one piece of feedback thanks to Rich, Toodles or Crimson. Just noticed while I was doing the magazines blueprint over here, so if we go into blueprints and come into magazines, in our document I set a validation, or rather I tried to, and if anyone remembers, it was to validate that it was a PDF file via the extension. But I didn't click enter or tab or something in order to actually get it down to here. So it didn't actually get applied. So we'll try that again. And the reason for that is if we go this time for MIME types, we'll go a little bit more restrictive and actually look at the MIME type. I think it's application PDF, but we'll look it up. Proper MIME types, common MIME types. That's an MDM post. I like the look of that. There we go. Yeah, that looks good. PDF. Application/PDF. Perfect. So we'll copy that out. We will add that as our MIME type and hit enter. There we go. Yeah. So now it's actually applying it. And let's go and find out if it works, because that is one of the reasons Rich noticed. He actually applied the validation rule and discovered that it would not let him add a PDF. So that was using the MIMEs with the extension check. So we will just check now that we can actually upload this PDF here. So remove it, upload a file, and we will upload our Nordic magazine. Yep. Oh, by the way, yeah, did not format my computer for the weekend like I said I would. PDFs in here somewhere. There we go, there it is. Open. Okay, so that has let me assign it, and that's a good sign. Let's just save and publish this one. Ah, no. Must be a file of type application PDF. Well, it is. Curious, curious indeed. Oh wow, did not know you could preview a PDF in here. So that's curious. I wonder why that is. Does not recognize this as a PDF. Let's try the, it's a required field, so we're just going to dump out at this point. Let's try the extension version, although that is the version that is reportedly definitely not working, which is strange. I wonder if this is a bug. What it is, it might possibly be a missing, what's the word I'm looking for? A missing, what is the word I'm looking for? A package. Sometimes need a package in order to kind of extract a MIME type potentially, but that's MIME's PDF. Imagining stuck in a box now. Anyway, save magazines. It's getting warm in here. I also closed the door because the catch was on the floor. Open that window. Did I click it? What am I doing here? Edited that, so we just need to maybe create a new one. Let's create a new one. Create entry. Test magazine. Test description. Cover image. We will browse on this instance. And take that. I should have to add a filter to that as well. Wonder if this is filtered. Let's pick that one again, PDF, and hit save and publish. No. Well, that's crappy. Let's have a little look. work on Tinternet. Okay, so we put in the MIME type into a MIMEs field. MIMEs validation not working correctly. I wonder if it's, like I say, it might be a package that we need. Or it could just be broken in Laravel. Gonna load the font, thank you. Anybody? Oh, that feeling. Anybody help? I'm using the PHP built-in server. The built-in server supports a limited number of MIME types depending on which PHP you're running. Huh. I am. Oh no. I can't click up the top now. Yeah, one of which is PDF apparently. In 555. The CLI SAPI provides. Interesting. So maybe this is as a result of us using. So yeah, it's this stuff. So in our Docker file, we are. I can't click anywhere. This is ridiculous. Why does this keep happening to me? See that? It knows that I'm. Look, there's something up there. I don't know why it keeps doing this to me. I can. Oh. That was weird, wasn't it? Right, sorry, bear with. I'm going to have to quickly jump across to another. There we go. And we can click. Yeah, there we go. Sweet. Apologies. Right, so yeah, we're using PHP Artisan Serve, which could potentially be the reason we're seeing this. What I'll do is I will make a note. Take us a little while to, well, it won't take too long, but it's a little bit outside the scope for today. But what we could do is potentially try running that against an actual under. Had to yeet your volume up. Okay, thanks. Let me see if I can do anything about that from here. I can turn myself up a little bit on OBS. Is that any better? Somebody said we were quite quiet on a call last week as well. I don't know whether it's the microphone or suddenly it's decided it's going. Ah! Oh no, that's my normal speakers. Alright, so sorry about this, but hopefully next week I'll come back with the reason that doesn't work. That's really annoying. One of the things that's been most looking forward to in Statamic the version 3 was better validations. Oh, apparently I'm having bandwidth issues now, and OBS is complaining I'm tapping out my USB mic. Alright, fun days. Right, anyway, I'm going to take that validation off and leave you with an apology, but hopefully come back next week with an answer as to why that doesn't work. With some luck, like I say, it's just the way we're particularly serving it locally for development. And maybe there's something we can do to get it to work when it's running it using the inbuilt PHP server. What are we doing? Document validation. We'll remove our MIMEs validation for now. I guess we could put it. Please only upload PDFs. And we'll save that. Alright. What time are we at? 12:35. Cool. running well, running well. Another piece of feedback from Rich, along the lines of these magazines again, this document. So there was some fun had last week with the download attribute. Oh yeah, we don't have a show for it. It's here, so this download PDF. I can't remember where we left it really. Oh yeah, download without an attribute. Sorry, download without a value. And I think this one will trigger it. So that's so weird. So that's the same as the version that's on Next at the moment, the Next website. And I'm pretty sure that opens in a instance. But what Rich worked out was that if you put an so let's go and have a look at this in the template, shall we? So it's going to be partials, magazines, preview. This download option here. Oh look, so we're sending that across. That might be the difference. So if we change that to that and now load it, I think it will open. No, just going to download it again. So weird. But the adding an attribute this side gives it a name. So we could put title in here, inject title into it. Oh, and away goes screen key. Well done, screen key. Bye. Bye. Nice to know you. Now it should download with the title. No. Oh, did I not refresh the page? Oh, screen key's back. Now it should, yeah, it's downloaded with the title of this page, or the title that was set in the variable. So, yeah, thanks for that little tip, Rich. I don't think he'll be on here. He'll probably be at work. I'm getting some audio sync issues. USB makes, yeah. So I noticed these on the last call. Yeah. I think I am maxing out my CPU, which means my USB mic ends up getting a little bit, well, the video gets behind, I think. So yeah, sorry. Fortunately, last 2 streams for me. Here this week, and then here next week. And then perhaps you can have a stream from somebody using a MacBook again. Cool. Hey, download attribute. Sorry about the issues today. Download attribute done. Note checked. Thank you, Rich. So we will quickly touch upon the error pages. The 404 specifically. Now, if you open up your views directory under resources, you'll have a 404.antlers, I think, out of the box, and you can create a new file, 500.antlers.html, and it will use that for any 500 errors, surprisingly. I'm going to forget the maintenance code now. What is the maintenance code? Does anyone remember it? HTTP status code, maintenance, Laravel. It's not specific to Laravel, but there is a HTTP status code that it will cough up when it's in maintenance mode, I think. Oh, hello. Maintenance. Somebody, come on, please save me from this arduous look. I'm pretty sure it's in the 5s. Oh, it won't be in the 5s, will it? No. The hell is it? HTTP status code, maintenance. Can't spell maintenance. 503. So if you pop a 503 in here, this is where I try and do this and it's not going to work. You'll be back soon. So normal defaults obviously going to load, but Laravel has a maintenance mode, which I don't know. I've not tested this. Docker exec. Wait, no. Yeah, Docker exec. There we go. IT. PHP artisan down should stick Laravel into maintenance mode, and we should. Yeah, there we go. we'll be back soon. So because it's hit a 503, so we see it down here. Let's zoom that in a little bit more. Because we've hit a 503, Statamic's used the 503 errors view. All very straightforward, simple stuff. 500 for our 500 errors. I'm going to delete that for now. And I'm going to delete my 503 one as well. Perfect. And we've got our 404 page one not found. We will address those. Well, I don't actually know why I deleted them, to be honest. So that's how we do error pages. And like I say, any status code, if you're happening to return a different status code from a particular application layer, add your error code in there and handle it. Or not handle it, but tell them that it happened. All right. Just gonna finish off my coffee before it gets cold. It is pretty cold. Okay. So, like I said at the start, I'm not too certain when this changed or if it even changed at all. But Laravel, the Laravel community in general, is very much all on board with Tailwind. So, yeah, most things include it out of the box these days, and most of the software and the frameworks and the SASs and the boilerplates all use Tailwind under the hood, and then you can kind of extend it with further Tailwind classes. I don't know how in-depth to go with Tailwind today. We should probably at some point have a Tailwind stream or a Tailwind, at least a little workshop of some description. Tailwind is a utility framework, utility CSS framework. It, as opposed to the likes of, for example, Bootstrap or Material UI or Semantic or any of these frameworks, really, you'll find you get components and you apply classes and a particular layout. And with Bootstrap, for example, to build out a alert in here, the first thing here we just give it an alert class, and then a secondary alert class with its kind of overrides in it. So if we want a different color, we'll give it alert secondary, alert success, danger, etc, etc. If you want a card, well, you give it a class of card, and then you've got class image top here to tell it it's we're going to have an image top and apply the appropriate styles for this. And this is very much, you know, you'll struggle to find most UI elements are covered in Bootstrap. It is pretty old now. What, we have 4.5? I don't remember a time when Bootstrap didn't exist, although not that ancient. But Bootstrap used to be and is still to some extent the de facto, and the same with things like Material CSS, which implements the or Materialize, sorry, which implements Material UI, Google's, and again you're going to get nav wrappers and col S12 and things like this. Very much, yeah, components. Tailwind is totally different. There are no components. There are only, where are we going to look for them? That's customization. This doc doesn't really make a great deal of sense. Where are they? So there is actually this now, which I was going to cover on in a second. Let's hit the get started button. Hopefully make a bit more sense. We're just going to search. I'm not used to using it like this. But what you'll get is a range of sensible, defaults basically for pretty much every property of CSS. So here we've got our margin ones, and in order to apply a margin of 1 rem all round, m-4, and you'll get things like a negative margin, just prepend it with negative, and you'll get one where it's a cross, as I like to remember X. So left and right, top and bottom, zeros, and a range beyond there. And these are all, what's the word for it? On a good scale, for want of a better word. So these are all, scaled up as you go. And what you'll find is you've got, one of my favorite features is a range of colors that have been selected already for you. So we've got reds and oranges and yellows and greens, and all of these work very well together. So you can pop a blue on a purple and it usually looks fairly nice. There's a whole range, so it works in a similar way to font weights. So we've got 100 to 900 as we get darker through it. And then you can use these for backgrounds. You can use them for borders, border colors. The same deal, so border dash, and then whatever your color code is. But there's a whole range. I want to say I've seen a list that looks like a list of. Oh, here we go. I need to scroll further. Loser. So you've got layout, floats, clear fits, object positionings. You've got all the flexbox rules. You've got grid rules. You've got flexbox alignments, spacings, widths. I don't need to read all of these out to you, but they're all of the properties of CSS, or best part of them, defined as a single class that you can then use on your HTML elements. My love for this comes from the fact that I can, to some extent, copy and paste HTML elements around, and they will always look the same so long as I'm pulling in my Tailwind. And what they're slowly moving towards is what's referred to as Tailwind UI, which is both free and paid for components that have been built using Tailwind. So we've got a bunch of hero sections here. We've got a preview of that hero section, and you can tap here and grab out code. And assuming, well, not even assuming actually, you could have overridden quite a few of your variables. We'll show you how to do that in a moment. But you can just copy and paste this in just as you would have done with a Bootstrap grid or a Bootstrap example. And these will all work for you. The only difference is it's not called a hero. It's just a bunch of CSS variable CSS properties in here. You can do things like responsive elements. So if you add a prepend to any of these, I'm trying to speak whilst at the same time finding the responsive design stuff. Here we go. So these are the built-ins. Small, SM, medium, LG, and XL, and their appropriate min widths. So it's all mobile first. And then down here we've got a width of 16, unless we are larger than 768 pixels. We've prepended it with MD colon, and we're going to go to width 32, unless it's even larger, in which case we're going to apply the W48. Nice. Hope there's no breaking color. Oh, hang on. Tailwind 2 this week with a new color. Oh my word. A new color palette. Nice. Hope there's no breaking color codes. I think some colors have been removed by default. You have to opt in. Why is my site pink? Why is your site not pink, Kev? Jesus. Interesting. I didn't know this. Is there a doc for it yet? No. 07 to 19. Nice. This is what I like about Laravel. Documentation. Ding, 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 ding. Works all the way down, and I'm going to say this now, and it's going to not work for me. If we're on a page, and I change versions, cache was available in 5.5, it'll stick to it, which is awesome. Love that. Kev's not that retrowave. You're not that into retrowave. I mean, you can have pink background without being into retrowave, can't you? It's just you can't go, you know, full on retrowave. Loads of neons and stuff all over the place, and you know, like an old school car of some description just parked there, just sitting there. Simon, slightly off topic. If I start my Statamic build on Laravel 7, is it fairly easy to upgrade to 8 now? Yes. There's two ways of going about that. There is upgrade guides for every version. Probably best off looking via Google. So if you're going from Laravel 7 to 8 upgrade guide, Laravel docs upgrade, here you go. And you'll get basically a breakdown of the changes. So if you're going from 8 to 8 from 7, then this is the list of things that have changed in between there, an estimated upgrade time, and then they will literally walk you through it. So update your dependencies. Are you using the isset method? Use something else. Yeah, and a breakdown. If you can't even be bothered to do this feels like too much work. There it is, Laravel shift. I think you just add them. Yeah, there you go. Laravel 4.2, 5, 5.1, all the way up to 7 and 8. And what they will do is you give them access to, let's sign in with Git. So you give them access to your project, and an AI that they've trained will go through your project and upgrade it for you automatically. It's pretty sweet. For a pay-as-you-go or $9 a month setup. It does feel like too much work. Well, there you go. $9 a month. Run shifts. And this will just automatically upgrade your project and go through and make all of the changes that are meant to have been made. I've used it once before to go from 5.8 to 7, I think. What? Flawlessly, I can't. They just sent a PR with the changes in it. I think it took about a few minutes or something, and an AI had already racked it off. And I think it cost me, that was a different pricing back then, I think it cost me like $5 or something. And I was looking at the changes and was just like, this is gonna take me all day. And then somebody was like, oh, you should use Laravel Shift. And I was like, what is this? Sent it to them, and then for $5 I thought, screw it, I'll find out if it works. And it did. So it's pretty sweet. Alright, is the website still down? I think it is. So what we can do is just run up. I think it creates like a little lock file somewhere in here. Don't know where it creates it, but it's created a lock file somewhere that if you do up, it'll now be back. Laravel's got some new cool things with that PHP artisan down command where you can give it a token and it'll let you in if you've got that token. Or you can say an IP address and it'll let you in if you've got the IP, or if you're logged in, you can do that as well. Anyway, where were we? We were adding Tailwind before I got massively distracted, right? So what I said was, unfortunately, but also fortunately, Statamic now basically comes with it out of the box. So 2 files down here are, well, I guess 3 files if you want to include your package manifest. But you've got a Webpack mix.js. It's got mix on the end because it's actually Laravel mix, which includes Webpack and a bunch of other stuff under the hood. And this is what you get out of the box. And right here is everything we need to get our Tailwind loaded, pulled in, and then if you're running it in production mode, to get it also post CSS, which means stripping it right back down. So when you're looking at this sort of project, you're looking at all of these colors and all these spacing variables. Oh, this is customization. Why won't it scroll on the left here, please? Go scroll here, thank you. So all of these tons and tons of classes, if you don't use them, you use something like post CSS to then remove them from your project. So it will go through, and what we give it is inside of our tailwind config.javascript file, we give it a purge flag, and we tell it where our templates are. So our templates are going to be the handlers, the blades, and the markdown files that are in our content directory, because we could also include some HTML in our markdown files. So we give it those 3 directories. It will go through and tokenize, I think actually, to be honest, every word in there. And then what it will do is it will use that as a reference and say, well, you've used this class, so I will keep it in your final CSS. So in combination, these two, we should be good to go. So it's going to take in out of the box, it's going to take in a JavaScript file from resources.js site.js. So resources.js site.js. This is all of you. So there's nothing in there at the moment. If we want to add site.js JavaScript, there we can. And then we're going to pull in the resources CSS tailwind.css file, which is CSS tailwind.css, which is going to pull in the base, which is all of the normalizers. It's then going to pull in site, components, and utilities from the Tailwind project. And this is basically your getting started version of Tailwind. In site.css, again, completely blank. And CPCSS, this don't think it gets compiled out of the box, but yeah, here. If you want to override any of the CSS and JavaScript in the control panel, uncomment these two and make your adjustments in the CPCSS and the CPJS. There are guides on Tinternet on this Statamic dev, probably well out of the remit for this, but yeah, if you wanted to brand it at all, you can feel free to do so via the CPCSS files. Okay, so we will keep that commented out for now, and let us start using some Tailwind, shall we? So, back to a terminal, we're going to need, is that big enough? Make a couple of blocks bigger just in case. So we're in that Nordev website, we're in the root now. So we're alongside our package.json. So we'll just use npm, the node package manager, to install our dependencies. I installed Composer 2 the other day, and that used to be the slowest package manager I used, and everyone used to complain about npm, and I used to be like, if only npm was the worst package manager I used, because I used to use Composer. Everything was relative, but now, after, I don't know, maybe I only run Composer twice now, npm feels painfully slow. You can never win, basically. If they sort this, and I guess somebody's going to be yelling at me to use Yarn instead. If I used Yarn, then I'm going to have some other package manager that's going to feel slow. It's just, yeah. Fickle beasts we are. Yeah, where is Chris to say use Yarn when you need him? I tell you what, I would be genuine. I had this conversation, I think with Dom on Twitter. Yeah, so I'm a bit of a, I don't know what the word is for it, but basically Yarn came out, can't even remember now, back when npm was like version 2 did it? It was before it had lock files. Was that what Yarn introduced? That was the biggest thing, right? Yarn introduced lock files and emojis. And I think I tried it out on my Linux machine and did a Yarn install, and my whole terminal looked completely messed up. Like the emoji codes had just broken my terminal. And then when I went to type, when it had returned, like the typing was like lower down or something. Yeah, shrink wrap, that's the one. You could shrink wrap your package JSON file. So yeah, I think Yarn was... God, casting my mind back now. It's not that long ago, but... Yeah, Yarn was it was to introduce that lock file, and I think it introduced caching. Don't know. Introduced some things. But I was very much of the mind back then. I was like, why don't you just put that in NPM? And if you can't get it into NPM, then I probably don't want it, basically. And I have not installed Yarn since, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, it's kind of, I just got put off by the hipsterness of it. It was faster, parallel downloads, and global caching. Yeah, exactly. Parallel downloads is pretty awesome. That's always a nice feature. Composer now has that, which is why it's so freaking fast. Composer's always had global caching, I think. Yeah, exactly, Kev. I'm pretty sure they broke my terminal for the first several months, and then I think there was a mode where you could install Yarn, where you could turn off the emojis. But then I seem to remember that they would come back after an update or something, and then my terminal would be broken again. Basically, I only ever worked on Mac, and like, that's not a way to win me. That's a good reason I'm not using Yarn. There you go. So if anyone asks, the reason I don't use Yarn is because I'm not on Mac. Okay, anyway, I'm just sat here and waiting for NPM to install. It's 1,092 packages. Good God. Nice. Right. Oh. And we're back. I think. Maybe. Yep, okay. That was weird. Just as I go to kick off, the internet dies. Of course it does. Of course it does. Oh, wait. Everybody else has dropped off. Has YouTube died or something? Can someone give us a wave in chat? Keep still uses less bandwidth. Alright, so we've got the Tailwind installed. No, I'm going to stop doing that. We've got Tailwind installed. It is going to purge based on our Tailwind config. However, because we're going to run it in dev mode, first of all, it's not going to do that as far as I'm aware. It's just going to give us it all. So it's going to be like 3.5 megs of CSS or something stupid. npm run dev. I think it just dropped my internet connection again. Maybe. Don't know. It's that time of the afternoon where the internet drops out, apparently. And also when Webpack takes ages. There we go. 2.7 megs. Fucking hell. With post CSS, we'll just confirm it's working. This will probably come out at, well, in the zeros. There we go. Conservative purge mode. 5.6 kilobytes. That's much better. So that'll probably have just included the normalizers. I don't think, we might be wrong, but I don't think we're using any Tailwind classes at the moment inside of these purge directories. Lunchtime YouTube break, yeah. Mez has just loaded up a YouTube next door. Yeah, so we can tell it's working. And if we were to introduce a few more classes now as we build, then we're going to slowly increase that package size. Going to run the watch, hopefully, which will send Webpack with the watch flag. And off we go. Hopefully. Why is this taking so bloody long? It's probably because best part of my CPU is streaming videos to Intel at the moment. Yeah, OBS 190%. Oh, blimey. And that other 32% is probably the music. It's getting hot in here. Alright, so we messed up my... There is something to be said for the replicatability of my broken mouse. Seems to always happen when I'm in terminal. Yep, so bear with. Just hit the XF86 wake up button. Alright, so we're running our watch. So it's going to sit in dev mode, which is why I've got a massive 2.7 meg file again. What we need to do is we need to come along to our view, excuse me, into our layout, and just make sure that we're including this. And that we're including it using the mix tag. The mix tag is different to the inbuilt Laravel, I think it's called asset tag. But what this will use is in production, when you run a production build, if, here we go, if mix in production, mix.version. And what that will do is it will stick either a hash or a SSHA hash of the file, or an MD5. It's an MD5, isn't it? MD5 of the file on the end of its name, and then it will give you a manifest so that you can find it again, because it has renamed it. So if we run this in prod again, sorry about this, my PC is moaning again that we're got low bandwidth, so apologies if it's hideous over your end. What we should have got now is it will run the mix version, and I think this is going to work with just a file and query strings, to be honest. Yeah, exactly. So what it's done is in the public directory, it's created a mix manifest.json, and in here, we zoom in a little bit, this is the file that you're referencing, and this is the file name you should use. And I think you can change this so that it would actually include this here within the file name, but it's fine to be just on the end of here as well. What that's doing is cache busting for you automatically. So your user comes along to your website, downloads your site.js, your Tailwind CSS file, but they have downloaded them with a query string of ID equals the MD5 of the file. And then what happens is, if you actually change the contents of that file, you will end up invariably changing the MD5 checksum of the file, and you'll get a new one here, which will mean that it will no longer match the cached version that the person has downloaded at the other end, so effectively busts your cache. And this way you can get around issues, well, exactly that. Basically, you can get around caching issues without having to, well, just nice and easily. Just an extra ID on the end. And then what will happen in front end world is if we have a look in here, look, if you can see that, we've got a style sheet with the ID on the end and a JavaScript file with its ID on the end, as opposed to what we've included in our layout file, which is just the plain old js.site.js. Took me a moment there. Okie dokie. So let's start fleshing out even some of our views. And to do this, I think I'm going to bring us over with the Chromes so we can see what we're doing. We're going to come into our layout and we're going to get rid of that dump because that's ugly. Now there is a way to get hot reload set up. I should probably have looked into it in the meantime. I've had some issues with it previously because of me using Docker. and proxying and stuff like that. But you can definitely get it set up. Maybe I'll put it on my list to investigate for next week. Hot reload. Put a little star next to that. Because it is pretty awesome. It's pretty useful, but to be honest, when you're sitting like this next to each other, it's all good. All right, so let's close the little sidebar. We're going to start from the ground up, and let's we can probably put this. In fact, if we drag this down here, drag that one up here, Alt next to each other. Oh dear, menu's broken a little bit. All right, so let's get this going. What to do first? So I'm going to. Do we have our logo yet? I can't remember now. Pretty sure we do. No. So let's go and grab our logo quickly. Where have I got? Oh, I've got a copy of that here. Somewhere. We're going to start creating our header. And we'll start in our layout. What have I done with the logo? Aha, found it. Alright. So we will, for this, create a partial to hold our logo. Now, you could probably, in an ideal world, I guess, give the client access to this logo. But to be honest, we're devs. It's very unlikely it's going to change anytime soon. So I'm just going to pop it into our logo partial here. So it's just an SVG. Yeah, cool. And in our layout, then we can then include that within our nav. So we'll probably want that in a link, and we'll probably want to link to the homepage with it. So let's pop that in an A, and then we'll bring in our partial, which is our logo. Cool. Start looking good. We'll need our background color, and this is where this slightly differs on the Nordev website. So on the Nordev website, we have dark and light mode, and as a result, in the configuration for the site, we've got the main color variables are in a configuration that gets changed when you click this button. We're going to start off with just code up the dark mode of the website. Sean will probably give us a shout out, but there is something I've been meaning to look at, which is, I think Tailwind has its own dark mode thing now. Is that right? Have I just made that up, Sean? I think it's got a toggle that you can use, or some kind of modifier. So a bit like the sizing modifiers. So like dark colon would be the color you want when you're on dark mode or something. I can't remember now, but there is something floating around. I will have a look at it in the downtime, and it's another thing that we can cover as a bonus in part 4. Tailwind dark mode. So for now, we will stick to just using those straight, plain old Tailwind. Which means we need our background color set. Somewhere around here I've done a list of the colors that we're using, so I didn't spend ages looking for them. Where is it? God damn it. Okay, cool, found it. Sweet. So what we would like is on our class, we're going to be using a similar color here. So it's the BG for background, gray, and it's the 900 grab. Gray, it's the 900. We'll then want our font set. For that, in our dark mode, we've got text gray 200. And then we will add some, that'll do, I think. So that should be our colors sorted, or not. Great, here we go. We run it in prod. That was the last time I ran it. So it's streamed out those classes. In fact, actually, we don't even need it running. We should be able to just do npm run dev, build the entirety of Tailwind, and just stick it on the page, and we'll stream it down afterwards. I'll be right back once that's webpacked it. He's back, and it's loaded by the looks of it. Although, where's the JavaScript file? 4. Oh, read that as megs. Discovered the reason for my bad internet. Mez is on a call next door. Just up my, what is it, PMP rating? Just steal all the bandwidth of her. Kick her off the network? I don't know. I think they made a plugin. Or is it feature flag or something? Yeah, I don't want to get too distracted with it. I'll look at it. Look at it while we're away. That's sorry, Tailwind dark mode. Yeah, I think there's something. There's something in there now. All right, so we have the entirety of Tailwind on our page now, and first step. It is grey. Perfect, perfect. We're getting there, right? Okay. After I've died. So we've got our body in place. What I'm then going to do is we're going to introduce some padding left and right. So padding X across of 8. And then just going to introduce a container for our page as well. So this will be just to contain basically the entire thing. We'll make it flex, and in our flex column direction. So that's flex is normally horizontal, so we need to override that, make it column. H screen is a little handy helper that will basically make sure that this div is always the height of the screen, or at least the height of the screen. MX auto is basically margin left, right auto. And then what we're going to use is on mobile, we want this to be full width. On medium devices, so kind of tablet upwards, we want it to be 4/5. And a large, we want our max width to be 3XL. Alright, and this will just introduce a bounding box for everything basically. So I'm going to put all of that inside of that div, and there we go. We start to restrict that page. Perfect. We'll now start introducing or working on some of these header components. So breaking that down. Now, it's going to get a bit painful, isn't it, if I keep saying this? But I am going to probably extract this, right? So I'm going to extract the entire header, just because I'm really partial to a nice, really partial to a partial, there's that joke again. I'm partial to a nice, easily readable template. I don't want to have to scroll it if possible. So where possible, I'm going to break all of these things out. So we're going to break that into a partial called site header. and open up a partial. We'll need to create that now. So it's site header antlers.html, and we'll paste in our header. Perfect. All right. Save that. Refresh. Nothing's changed. Absolutely perfect. That's what we want to see. So we now need to implement our nav, right? So at mobile, it's just a plain list, a small list on the left-hand side. So we'll need to replicate that onto our site. So let's drop it down. At the moment, that's exactly what it is. So I haven't got much to go around there. What we do need to do though is start to put a bounding box around this. So we'll add some discrete padding, I think, to this, and add some margin to the top of it. So we will make sure we get the margin top 6. Oops, there we go. Scroll up to actually to see that there, and then. What do we need? We need it's a lot smaller, that's for sure. Oops. Yeah, our logo. A lot smaller, look. So what do we want here? We've got the hovers going on. I'm pretty sure, yeah, we won't have that any of that stuff going on here. It's all been ripped out, all been normalized. So start creating some styles for those. We will want quite a few, I'd imagine, within our actual element here. Just trying to work out where to attack this first. I think I'll probably go after the logo. So we've got our link. Do we want a bounding box around that? I don't think so. I think we're alright with just an A link. We might want to make it block. And let's just break this up a little bit so I can stick our classes in here. I can't see chat. Where's chat gone? Okay. Right, cool. Well, we're doing this first, right? So we just want some space around it, really. So we can probably do that with, could either do that in the OL, but if we just introduce some margin at the bottom of this will push it down appropriately. I thought. It's always getting started. Struggle to know where to attack first. I think actually I won't put any classes on this yet. Let's sort this menu out. So class, bold font, right? Extra bold. There is a bunch of these classes for those. Font weight, hairline, all the way up to 900 at black. We're going to take this 800 here, nice and extra bold as it's called. Let's drop that down. Cool. And then at mobile, we want this to be full width, right? So we'll probably want to make our container, our header, we'll want to make that flex. To start off with, we could potentially make this flex column on mobile so that we get the stacking, or we can make our subnav full at mobile so that it basically breaks out the flex container, but in that instance we'll need kind of a flex wrap so that it'll actually wrap around. Let's do flex column at mobile, and then the opposite of flex column, whatever that might be, at desktop. Where's flex? flex direction. Flex row is our opposite. So we'll flex column empty 6, and then at medium we'll make that flex row. And we will need to introduce a class here to make this full width. Although it will just take up a space, won't it, in flex row? So yeah, okay, so if we just make sure we've got some alignment on all of this lot. So align, oh, I want that. I usually like to keep my responsive at the end, basically together. And I also follow some rules around like block, margins, paddings, then styles. So we've got our block style elements here. We've got margins. If I had a border, I'd put that before. Padding comes after my margins. Colors and fonts and stuff like that. Then again, that same rule, but with mediums and then largers and XLs and stuff like that. Because that is one of the catches with I mean, that's not too bad, but if you look at some of the UI elements in components, you're going to find some class names that are tomes, absolute tomes. Cool. So let's have a look what we've got now. Well, we've got the bold, at least. We might not be big enough for... so let's pop this out. We might not be big enough for desktop at this stage, for the medium flex row. Oh, yeah, we are. Yeah, we lose it at that point. 768 wide for the medium. So we've got no... It's not overflowing at the moment. Oh, that's because I've done it on here, which has got the nav inside of it. So at the moment it's just the nav that's in those flex, not the actual elements inside of the nav. So we need to just drop that down a layer. So let's grab our flex rules here. Oh, and the class. Just drop that onto that nav. There we go. That's better. And then at mobile, it's underneath. Good, perfect. Right, what do we need now? Well, we don't want this in a list like this, do we? So let's come into here, align middle. We're also going to apply flex when we get to medium at the same point as the flex row, so that it then jiggles out. So medium flex. We should now get, a list like so. What we probably need here is to grab our align middle and just take that and pop it up with this one as well. That should get us, or not. Should have got us elements of the same size. Okay, right. What we will want to do is increase our font sizes. So let's have a look where we went with in the end with that. It looks like we just went for XL at medium. So again, we'll go medium flex and medium text XL. There we go. Let's just make this bigger as well. That doesn't seem to conflate, does it? What have we got on here? Whoa. This is what I mean. You end up getting to the point where your classes are a fairly horrific mess. So here we go. We've got text small, medium text XL. No further than that, though, is there? I'm curious. Am I zoomed? Ah, answers that. All right. Do check you're not zoomed in on the reference document when you're looking at things like this. All right, cool. So we're going to need some margins alongside of these, right? So we'll probably go for margins for each item. So we'll want, how much have we given them here? Let's have a look. Should be an MR rating somewhere around here. MR. Hello. MR6, there we go. Medium, because of course we don't want that 6 at the on the mobile design. So we'll do again. I'm going to copy this across to here because it's going to be under the MD. MR. Was it? What was it? Forgotten already. I tell you, my memory is awful. That isn't even close to the right DevTools. MR6, perfect. We've got some border setups on here. So if you look, when we're actually on the posts page, we actually get a border underneath. So we've set that up so that that space is always there. Otherwise, it would grow as you picked it. So let's introduce some of that. So it's posts, inspect. What have we got on the bottom here? Kind of. So I can't extract this, but at mobile, because this doesn't have the prepend, we've got border left 4, and then medium, border left 0, border transparent, so that we don't see that border that's been introduced, and then one of these, the post has actually got it on, look, so we've got the border red 500, which overrides that border transparent and brings back the border for you, so you can actually see it, but it doesn't resize it. That's quite an important thing to do when you're doing kind of dynamic borders. Alright, so let's collapse this. Oh, why won't this collapse? Are you freaking serious? I can't select this now. Oh, for crying out loud. Oh, I really need to format my laptop. This is what happens when you install 2004 over the top of your 1804 XFCE, which anyway, blah, blah, blah. Right, cool. MR6, we've got our margin right. Looks like we want our A tag to potentially have some, class of MR6 as well, to kind of push that across. Also, we're not ending up with a crap load of classes on here, so let's just clap that down. Now, I can't click on anything, bear with me. There we go. All right, got a space between them now. So we will now introduce that border on the LI here. So we had let's close that again. We want a border L4, an MD border L0, so that we've got our left border set up. And then we want at MD to have a border bottom of 4, and all of those borders are going to be transparent. Now I'm just going to break this out a little bit, like so. And we're going to introduce our actual highlighting of that border. So nothing's changed, that's a good sign. We want to see that on the left list here, and on the right, yeah, perfect. What we'll notice though is we're now slightly out of line. And we've got a border L4 on here. That is why. We'll sort that out shortly. Okay. Yeah, so I'm yeah, Kev, 1804 to 24. That's a big upgrade jump, says Kev. The issue is that my 1804 image was XFCE, and then I couldn't be bothered to wait for an X or a Xubuntu, an XFCE 2004 image, and I was desperate for the new 1Password. So I went ahead and just used the GNOME 2004 install to upgrade my 1804 XFCE image, and now I have a hogwash of both of them. But I do have 1Password. The problem being is it's completely useless to me. It's installed now there, but it doesn't do autofill. It doesn't do any of that stuff. So I'm still using the extension. So I upgraded so that I could get 1Password for absolutely nothing. Blame Matt Davey. He sent me a message saying, "Ooh, 1Password for Linux is available," because I'm forever winding him up that it's not available. And yeah, as a result, I had to upgrade. But anyway. Border transparency done. Right. What we need is we're going to need to have some activation when it's the active post. So if we refresh this now with a dump, and let's make it big and scroll up. We're now dumping out we're now dumping out our nav items, right? And what we should find is, here we go. Just as with the loop before, we are getting the first, the last, the total results, index, and counts. But then we get 3 extra ones. Or in fact, we get quite a few extra ones, but it's got 3 extra ones because we're going through nav right now. And that is current, is parent, is external. So is external is showing as true for the Nordab magazine. Don't know what that external is meant to do. I would imagine that was meant to point to a link. But what we're looking for here is current and is parent. And this, what is this one? It's the posts one. So what we need to look for is the Nordab magazine one. So this is the jobs one, permalink jobs. This is the, no, that's not the CP one. Here we go. No, that's current L. God damn it. This is the Nordab magazine one. So our third entry, quite rightly so, is our Nordab magazine, and down here we should see is current. So this is the current page in our navigation. So we can use is current to override our border color, and we'll do just that now. So we'll come in here and we'll say if is current, like so, border red, I don't know what color it is. Damn it, I nearly typed that and then I didn't want to make that mistake. And end the if. I'm not a big fan of doing ifs inside of class names, if I'm honest. It's ugly as hell, but fine, we will do it. If is current, border red 500. Now, we do have the is parent as well. Now, our nav doesn't have layers underneath it. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't have pages underneath some of these pages, right? So the about page could have contact us, etc., underneath it. Introducing what's the stack. This one here is underneath posts. It is a post is its parent, and when we're on it, posts is selected. So up here, we just need to say if is current or is parent. Sorry, that's not an or, that's a modifier. We need 2 pipes. Is current or is parent. Then border red 500. So now we should, in effect, have... where's our dump? Get rid of that. Refresh this page. There we go. So we are on our Nordab magazine. Nordab magazine has been selected. If we go to posts, our posts is selected. If we go to one of those posts in Hello World, again, oh god. Again, our post is selected because we are on a child of it. So that's good. We've got that established. what else do we need in our navigation? Home page is all sorted. What we could probably do with is some space underneath it. So how much space have we given it on the main NordDev website? Here we go. MB3 at medium. So we'll just implement that as well. We'll do it in our nav, and it's an MD, so it's so we'll put it on the bottom, on the end, and because we've got a block here, we've got a block element, we'll do the MB3 there. Perfect. And we should get a little bit of space underneath now. So we've got our mobile nav, and we've got our desktop nav. All right, and we've got. Oh, we should probably introduce our hover. There's a hover on this. Looks like it's a red 500 as well, I'm guessing. Hover text red 500. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. So we'll come in here in the LI. Border. Let's put it on the end of here. Hover text red 500. And now we should have a hover as well. Excellent. Cool. Let's smash out our so if we go to posts now, let's smash out one of these, right? So this is gonna use, as does every page, as we talked about in extent, because I'm a big fan of it. This will, what the hell? Why is the site not? Yeah, alright, Sublime. When you're ready. The same template renders every page. So we want to implement our headline, and for that, you guessed it, we're going to use a partial. So we're on our default. This is our default layout for everything, and we want our title to now actually have / posts on it, right? So we'll pass that to a partial, and we'll call it, should we call it site slash? Yeah, I think so. Site slash heading. And I think we're using dots. I've said that 100 times now. Site dot heading, and then if we go into site, where is this? Heading antlers.html. Can't actually see it, but I think it's in here. Okay, so at the moment we were just echoing out title, right? So let's have a little look at the markup here. And grab our H1, just copy that in for today. I don't want to get too stuck up on this, if I'm honest. You can use whatever framework you like. You can probably not use Tailwind with the setup you're going for. You'll probably want to do your hand roll your own styles and Sass and stuff like that. So we won't get too stuck up on it. What we will do is organize these a little bit more. So like I say, I like to bring my blocks to the front, followed by my margins and layout stuff. Then basically any of my superfluous stuff. So we've got an MR and an ML auto. I think we can swap that out for an MX. So we've got an MT8, PB4 and an MX auto. Oh, it looks like, right, I see. So at large size, we have a max width 3XL on this. Text 3XL, font bold, but this is bold as well. That's curious. Don't need that font bold there anymore because the whole thing's bold. Okay. And we're pulling that in up here. Perfect. Refresh. Nice. Why is it in the center though? God knows. Let's have a look. Because of the MX auto and a lack of was a max width of 3XL. What foobar is that? I'm missing? How is that fully width? That's so weird. Oh, it's getting so warm in here, it's unreal. Sweaty. Why has it gone? That's a max width, but we don't have a width on it, but then that doesn't seem to be a problem for this one. So max width 48. I mean, I don't think we need the MX Auto stuff, but unless we didn't hit that max width. Let me just take that off. And then take that one off as well. Pretty famous last words, wasn't it? I'll just start copying it, it'll make it easier. I mean, it's over. I don't know. Right, what we do need to do though to match site to site is get rid of these capital cases. So in order to do that, I can't be bothered to go through the control panel. And I'm just going to come into content, collections, into pages, about as, and we can sort it out here because it'll just be so much quicker. So about as, perfect. And if I do that, oops, and Control K L, why's screen key gone? I think it's on there. Home, we can leave that like that, that's fine. Jobs, Control K L, like that. We'll do a lowercase, and if you do Control K up, U, sorry, do uppercase. Control K L for our magazines, and posts, we're going to do the same, Control K L. Alright, so now we should have our lowercase posts. That's better. Okay, okay. Don't actually have text on the top of there, so let's go into our into pages and remove the thank you message. Thank you for reading our posts message, which is in posts. Delete that. Side. Okay. So now we just need to create our preview, and this will be in our partial again, so that we can use it wherever we like. Because one place we're going to need to use it again is on the home page in our latest post block. God, Jesus, I've just spotted the time. I need to hurry up. So let's blast for it. Let's go. We're going to come into views, we're going to come into partials, we're doing a post right now, so we need the posts preview, and at the moment it is just simply an A tag. So let's come into posts, and let's copy our block out of here. It's an LI by the looks of things here, which means we probably, do we want that? So what we'll want to do is our LI, oops, sod has that gone now? Got too many windows open. As I've said to you before, I like to keep, that's one of the dev tools. I like to keep my bounding box at the top level, and then everything inside should react accordingly, right? So we are going to open up our, there we go. Going to add, instead of an LI, we're actually just going to add this as a div, and we're going to add our flex, and our flex doesn't need to be column, sorry, just flex. First section is going to be that section that contains our tags. We've got them little nodules, little nuggets here. Just want to check on something quickly. Right, yeah. What I'm going to quickly do now, oh no, am I going to do it? Yeah, we'll cover that next week. I said we were going to cover scope and dealing with like the cascade, but I think we're going to have to cover that next week. So I'm just going to crack on with this now as we go. So right, so this will be our container for our tags. So we're just going to pass that to our tag listing. So taxonomy, listing, this one. Oops. And this instance, we need to be careful because it's expecting something called tags. Actually, we don't need to be careful because it's called tags. So we're fine. What we then need to do is set up our box, our container for everything else, right? So we'll probably need some classes on there at some stage. What we first of all need is our timestamp. So that's our updated app timestamp. And we will need our title of the post, which should be in an A tag, right? So yeah, just got this. Perfect. All right, so we need that in grey. So text grey. What's those ones? What it is? 300. That probably do it. Make it small. So that's our timestamp. Then got our title, which we will have as a link. Pass that to URL. And we'll also need to style this as well. So in order to style it, I'm going to use to wrap it in a H2. Now, sorry, Tailwind does. Oh, Tailwind does not ship with any typography. So all H1s, H2s, H3s are all the same. They look exactly the same. So does all text on the system. So class text 2XL. Oh, that's 3XL. Next step down, we're at 2XL now. Text grey 300 again. Wait, no, it's not text grey 300. Is it? No. Oh, hang on. I think I've got these the wrong way around. I think that is a 3. Yeah, that primary is 3. So text grey 300 on this one, and it's 500 on the top one, sorry. Okay, text grey 300, and we'll want it bold. And then we can introduce a description. P class, and this is the same grey 500 from above. This is a potential issue, actually. I think we can use one of the modifiers for these. So I had a bit of an issue with excerpts when I was looking around Statamic 3. I had a fair few plays around different ways of producing excerpts. It was one of the things I did quite extensively on the static FNs part of the Nordev JavaScript website, was to try and introduce a kind of excerpt stuff. Turns out it's quite a difficult undertaking. I think there's one in here. excerpt. Oh yeah, this uses this. Right, so excerpt works in one of the ways that was possible to do it on the JavaScript site, which is if you add this little more comment, you can have your own excerpts basically. The problem with that is it doesn't actually work automatically. You have to provide it with the rules for breaking it down basically. You've got to provide that more. Oh, for crying out loud, I've lost keyboard again. Lost my mouse even. Yeah, you have to. Right, yeah, okay. So what we're going to use instead is our own modifier. Oh, it's 1357. Oh my god. Right, okay. I have not gotten through even scratched the surface on what I was hoping to get through today, which is terrible. Sorry about this. What I'm going to probably have to do, and by all means update me or abuse me somewhere that you can find me, Twitter, DMs on Discord or whatever, but what I think I'm going to have to do is in the downtime between episodes I will add a bunch more of our templates. I'll get most of our templates in. We will then finish them off, part 4, and then we will cover 2 custom things. So we're going to cut the first thing we're going to cover is the production of a modifier that we will call fragment, because excerpt's already taken. But we are going to produce or create our own excerpts using this modifier, and we can do that with a generator. So we will use Docker Compose, PHP, Artisan, Statamic, make modifier, I think, fragment. Apparently there's no Docker Compose file. What the hell are you talking about? Hang on. No, none of these make sense. Docker file. There's one right there. Did I do Docker Compose? I did, didn't I? Oh my god, I can't type. Okay. Exec. PHP Artisan. Statamic. Make modifier. Modifier fragment. Perfect. What this will give us is, oops, bloody hell. In app, in modifiers, we now have a fragment class. And right here in our index method, we can take the value that we're giving. We can use the context, which is every value that's on the page that we've been called or within the context of, and any parameters that have been passed by the modifier. And what we should be able to do is in value, we will have our content that we've passed through, and then within our fragment modifier, we just need to basically parse it and return an excerpt, an appropriate excerpt. So we will, let me make that note right now before next week I forget. So fragments for next week. We will add that fragment to our previews, and in the downtime, let's say, I will add us a bunch more templates. We will still spend a little bit finishing off those templates next week so we can touch upon them, and I'll give you a quick tour. Then we will cover fragments and introduce a excerpt to our previews. We will then cover, what I wanted to cover today was another kind of form of customization within the, can't speak, getting stutter. Another customization we can make, which is to make a tag. And what we will do is we'll, again, Statamic make tag, pass it one called meetup, and then inside of our app, again, tags to, oh, crying out loud. Refresh, come on. Yeah, no, it's a new folder, get over it. bloody thing. Load of streams, load of websites, Statamic, open. Here we go. In our app directory, in our tags now, we've got a new tag, meetup. And again, similar concept going on here basically. Anything that we pass inside of our index meetup tag will get processed if we run it just like this. However, you can also add further tags under the same namespace basically. So any method you create here will create a new tag underneath that. What we will do with that is create a tag that's possible to go off to meetup, request from the API the latest events, and then let us template how we would like those events to appear. So we'll create a tag to do that. We will explore forms. So out of the box, Statamic ships with contact forms and all that sort of jibber jabber. They're created in exactly the same way as collections with their blueprints. So you can create any form fields you like, and then you need to create a renderer for those form fields. So we will cover off that as well. We will then take a look at the Git integration stuff. So getting that set up, we will enable Pro mode on our Statamic install. Add Git integration, configure it, turn it on, because it needs to be done so in the Pro mode, and have a look at how that will work. We will then also, we'll discuss it at least, how you can get that into a pipeline and your possible methods for deploying this site basically. So I mentioned in episode 2 or episode 1 I think, that you can run a staging site with the control panel on it, and then a production site without the control panel. Use Git to negotiate those two. Or what we will also be covering, it's going to be a bumper packed journey, is the Statamic Static Site Generator SSG package, which you install as an additional package via Composer. You run a command, it takes a configuration, and it dumps your entire site into a distributional dist directory, a public directory that you can then throw on CDN, throw it in GitHub, use GitHub Pages to host it. And again, the same setup would apply. So you'd have a staging site or like a UAT site or some site, some subdomain that would actually hold your control panel. And then they will do all of their changes. They will hit git commit in effect, type in a message, commit all of that, and then Bitbucket will pick it up, or GitHub or whoever will pick it up, pull down the latest copy with all of that content in the flat files, run an SSG build, and then deploy that SSG build somewhere. Should be cool. Apologies we didn't get through as much of the templating as I wanted to. Again, just fucking chatting. It would have been good to have got through a lot more of that. I'll play around while I'm off screen, and try and work out timings on how I'm going to work all of that stuff in the next week. I might actually do a run through of it. I'm trying to avoid, I don't know, again, please dismiss this actively, but we are trying to portray the real side of dev, as we keep referring to it as. So it's trying not to prepare as much for these, so that you kind of come in a fairly average way, and you can see the mistakes and warts and all approach. But I think at the weekend I might just whiz through what I plan to do in part 4, so that we can actually get everything in. I don't want to mess it up. We could always catch up on a Thursday or a Friday and do an extra session or something, because there isn't 5 weeks in this month, so don't get the extras. But yeah, as always, thanks for joining us. I hope that was useful. I didn't babber on too much. A quick reminder to... I say a quick reminder, can't even find the page now. But a quick reminder to join us tomorrow evening. Continuous integration, continuous deployment with Circle CI. We're getting their dev advocate coming over from Circle CI to give us a rundown on the practicalities of it. I've asked him to go, from the ground up. So thinking about it in terms of encoding your processes into whatever platform you're using. In this instance, we'll be using Circle CI, but all of the things that we discuss will be relevant to Bitbucket, GitHub, GitLab, and all the other CI providers. There'll just be a slightly different way of implementing it, but the same things exist. Friday, social club. Don't forget, virtual social. Join us. And then December the 3rd for the last Nordev of 2020, the Webb Telescope. So the new James Webb Telescope that will be launched in 2021. We've got a fella coming to join us to talk about some of the science behind that, some of the technology behind that. Should be interesting. So join us for that. And in the meantime, have a great day. Enjoy the rest of it. It's very grey out there, so that's a bit of a shame. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks for joining. See you soon. I'll leave you with our wonderful, wonderful patrons and some music for the next 20 minutes. Or 20 minutes? Next few minutes, sorry. Bye-bye.